Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pierced Off Pod.
Yes, thanks for joining us for another week.
Yes, and now it is well and truly into 2023. We're sort of at the end of January and it's just so crazy.
It is crazy how fast it has gone. Like literally February is around the corner.
I know, and it's like what we were talking about off air about how making February a 1st of Feb because of all the travel stuff. It's sort of insane because it's like that's already snuck up on us.
Yeah, literally.
I'm not even prepared to make February my New Year's because I still feel lost in the craziness.
Yeah, I do get that. But I've been toying with that idea because, we were away for a fair while and, we've been back. This will be our second week back into kind of like settling into routine and probably give me the best head start into planning for February, because even in like December, like you literally get like those couple days in between Christmas and New Year when you don't know what day of the week it is to really plan for what you want. Like that's the only time you give yourself to plan for what you want for the new year, which is like a couple of days, right? Like when you're in like this happy, like time is just a construct kind of period, whereas like now we've been, it's been a week, we're starting a new week now and February's around the corner and you kind of get a better picture of what is achievable. I feel like
Yes.
you're a little bit more realistic about what you want, and I feel like you're just a little bit more focused and self-aware maybe.
That's very true, actually, because I do feel like, I don't know, you get sort of lost in this January, like, oh my gosh, new year, like, fresh start, and then by the time it gets towards February, you realize it's just like the same as last year. Like,
Yeah.
it's just regular time, and it's what you do at that time, and it doesn't, like, it's not a magical solution having a new year, because it feels like a clean slate, but then when the holiday period is over and you go back to work, you usually go back to like the same job, or you're finishing off the same studies, or you're working on something that you planned the year before, or you've started the year before, so you easily fall back into this like routine. And so if you want to make like real change, it can be more helpful to think, how can I do that with this routine, rather than this like almost fairy tale bubble of this year's going to be so different. And not that that's not true, but like when you have it with the frame of what life is actually doing for you at the moment, I feel like you can make bigger change.
Definitely. Actually, really interesting though, like we're mid-January. Lunar New Year just happened on Sunday. I'm
Cool.
pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I think it was on Sunday, the Lunar New Year. So I think you say Happy Lunar New Year. But anyways, like it's really interesting because it's kind of like a perfect like a second perfect timing to because it's like, for me in this year, like when I've been like thinking about it, I've just been like, that's like more realistic time frame for me, because I've just given myself time to relax and like not put any boundaries and pressures and whatever expectations on me, and then just settled into like a natural routine. And I think that's another thing that's really been helpful, is the fact that I haven't put any pressure on it. It's not like I want to be like in our New Year's episode with the boys and we were like, New Year, say me, right? Because I haven't tried to change myself drastically.
Yes.
And all I've done is find little things that I want to do for me, which is like not changing me, but it's improving my life.
The little 1%ers, which add up to make the most. Because if you've done that, right, 1% every day, what day is it now? 23% better already.
Exactly.
Like that's so crazy. Like how all those little changes can add up, and they often add up more because it's like so hard to stick to a bunch of big changes. And I often find like in the fluff of New Year's, I get lost in what everyone else wants to.
Yeah.
And then once you come out of this like cloud of New Year's and blah, 2023 a big year, then I can finally actually be like, oh no, what do I really want? Because when I ask myself that in different contexts, the answer changes. So I've really tried to like focus on what I do want and prioritize, because otherwise like it's so hard to achieve stuff when you haven't set the priority list of what is sort of most important and next important. And I actually started doing the Rise and Conquer project by Georgie Stevenson again. And I was like, cool. And sometimes like it's like hard to answer the questions. I don't know what it is, but it's like I get this like, oh, I really want to do the work. I really want to like get into it and like figure out what I want and manifest. And then like I start writing and I'm like, oh, like I don't even, like it's hard. Sometimes I don't even know the answers to the questions, particularly because like they ask like, who is your like best self, or who do you want to be, and like what is like what do you want? And like the questions I'm on right now is like, why do you want those things? What would that look for you like for you in like a daily, like every day, and this and that. And like my goals go in like tiers, and so it's like this one seems more achievable, so do I write it as if I've just achieved that one, or do I write as if I've like how far in the future of my sort of like dream life do I go? And it's just like it's not easy, even though you think like, oh, it'll be so easy.
No, it's really hard. Even like I have like a goal planner, like a physical goal planner, because I had one 2021 and I really liked it, and then 2022 I bought something else and didn't really use it just because of, I don't know, I just wasn't in the flow of it and work and whatever, blah blah blah, doesn't matter. But this year I went back to the one I used in 2021, which was my goals, and it has like, you know, kind of the same thing, like what your values are and what goals you want to set and why, and what feelings that would create, and like all that sort of stuff. And yeah, some of the questions are really hard to answer because like I know why, but like I don't know how to put it into words, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I don't know why, or I don't know what it is and I don't know how to break it down yet. And I guess the benefit of it still is the fact that it forces you to think about it, because otherwise you wouldn't probably think about that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And I guess again, like it's the like that would go hand in hand with the what we talked about last week, the lucky girl
last week
syndrome or trend. And you know, when you do all that stuff, like you could go two ways. You can be like, this seems so far-fetched and it's never gonna happen. Or it's like, wow, like I'm so lucky, like everything I want like materializes eventually. I may not know how or when, but it always will come to me in time if I just like trust the process. And I think that is really cool. But I've almost found like this last week it's been like quite challenging for me to really feel into that. Like, I'm so lucky. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's based on where I'm at in my cycle, but like I've just been like not high vibe. And I think it's important to just like, I've been trying to do things to raise my vibe, and sometimes it's just like harder than other times, and that's okay.
Yes.
But just, you know, keep trying. But I am, you know, like trying not to get bogged down on the fact, because I feel like the more you dwell on it, then it's like it just festers in on itself, and it's so hard to get out of that. I wouldn't call it a slump, but like almost like a slump.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I found, you know, that's why I kind of started doing the project again, because it's like, well, this might be a good tool for me to, even if I just do a little bit of it, get back into that. Because I don't know, it's like sometimes it just seems like what I want is like so far away. But if I think that, then that might be making it so far away, you know, because if I just like trust that it's going to come, then eventually it might, like it, or it will, like eventually it will. But if you keep focusing on the fact that you don't have or your lack of, then that's what you constantly see, and it sort of expands.
Yeah. I'm like always torn between that idea of like mindset and its effect on things. Like sometimes I think about it, I'm like, yeah, like it's achievable and blah blah blah, and you know, change my mindset to see it in like the positive and make it something that I believe can happen. And then sometimes I'm like, man, I'm like full setting myself up for failure, because like that's so far out of reach, right? And I just constantly am like, you know, or I'll start with the negative and I'll be like, you know, there's no way I'm going to get that done. And then I think about it, I'm like, well, not with that attitude, you won't. And I full like sass myself.
I love that.
But, you know, like something that I would say to you or Jessie or whatever, like
not
someone
with
I
that
would,
attitude.
yeah, exactly, you know, like not with that mindset, like of course you won't, you know, you're already doubting yourself before you even tried. Exactly. But like I'm so always torn between that like full like 100% in, believe it, live it, dream it, whatever, to like being realistic and being like, oh, I need to be real about where I really am about this. You know what I mean?
I feel like surely that happens to everyone. And I think like the more you practice the mindset that you want, the more it comes naturally.
Yeah.
But I totally like, I don't know, like I do get that. Like it's so, I do the same thing. I go from being like, oh yeah, like of course this is going to happen. And like realistic, that's just a made up concept because we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Like
that's right.
Somebody might have been like, you know, be realistic about, I don't know, investing in Zoom. And they're like, you know, that's like, everyone likes meeting in person. But you don't know that the pandemic's going to come and make that stock blow up. So it's sort of like we pretend, we train ourselves into thinking we know what's going to happen based on the past. But the past isn't a great indicator for the future unless you like do the same things. But even still, like with everything that could happen, like we really like being realistic is just whatever you believe, and like whatever truth you believe is your truth, and that's what you think is real, and that's what creates your reality. But I'm like, seriously, like it seems so far. But then you see other people and it's like I think about what I could achieve in a year or two, and it's like, is that even possible? And then he like hear other people that have done like 10 times that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it challenges my brain to think, is this possible? But also sometimes it can make me feel like a bit down, like constantly seeing what other people have achieved.
Yeah.
And then I get like, it can muddle up my brain with how much like other people's goals or achievements are influencing me versus what I truly want. And I saw this TikTok where this girl was talking about how she was, you know, from a country where it's really hard to get out of there, and it's really hard to get an education, and you know, she ended up getting a scholarship and getting an education, and like I don't know what she studied, but like getting like a great job, and sort of like everyone back where she was from, like her home, was like, wow, you've made it, like you've literally made it, that's the dream. And she was really proud of her achievements. And then she goes on social media and she sees people like, I don't know, Alex Earl she mentioned, and you know, we all love Alex Earl, she's anyway, and she's like achieved great things, but then like she was like, I see that, and then I think, wow, like I've achieved nothing. And so it's all about perspective, and I see that and I go, oh, like how great would their lives be, when maybe it doesn't actually truly align with what I want. And I mean, sort of what we planned on talking about today is small things we're doing for ourselves now and into the future to, you know, live healthier, happier, how to choose ourselves, all that kind of stuff, and just make our lives, you know, a bit better for ourselves. And one of the things I've been doing is really trying to limit my stimulation from like TikTok and like overstimulation on trying to consume content, because I don't know what it is, maybe it's just the craziness of the New Year period, but I get very like, sometimes when I get in that like, it's just so hard or it's just so far away, I'm a classic, like I just distract myself.
Yeah.
I'll just like go on TikTok and I'll just like, it's almost like avoidance.
Yes.
Like I want to avoid feeling what I'm feeling, and then I go through and just binge TikTok or a TV show or YouTube, and I constantly feel like I need this stimulus because I can't sit with my own emotions, and then it makes it worse. So I've really like in the last sort of week just like waking up in the morning and like I was really good at not checking my phone straight away, and then I just let it slip. Like as soon as you're not on yourself, you just let it slip. You think, oh, I've got this habit down pat, but no, you still have to like constantly be on yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, stop checking my phone in the morning, and like when I'm doing tasks like making breakfast and making my coffee, intentionally allowing that time to be quiet. Like not putting something on my phone to watch. And I'm not perfect at this. Sometimes I'm like, okay, that's enough quiet time, and then I watch someone's vlog on YouTube. But that has been good. Even like I worked out, and like I was working out and listening to music, and it was too much. Like, and that is like crazy, the fact that like I couldn't even listen to music while I was working out because my brain was like so bombarded with all this external stimulation. I couldn't even hear myself. And so the last few workouts I've done, I've either put like a little bit of background music on, not in my AirPods, or I haven't listened to anything. And it's been nice.
Yeah, I've taken a very similar thing with when I take Simba for a walk, if I go for a walk on my own, like not putting my AirPods in. And not for any particular reason, just why not listen to the sounds and you know, pay attention to Simba and be present and just let my thoughts run and whatever. And it's been a really interesting / weird experience, because like you're so used to just like putting AirPods in and zoning out to the world and not having to make eye contact and whatever, right? And even with AirPods in, like I'll still smile at people and say good morning and whatever, but like I just feel so removed, because when like I'm not one of those people that can have AirPods in, even if it's not playing anything, and still hear people. Like for some reason I all of a sudden I can't hear anyone and it's like really frustrating. So like I have to take the AirPod out, right? Like if I am working and someone comes up to me, I've got an AirPod in, even if it's got nothing on, I have to take it out, otherwise I can't hear you. Bizarre, completely bizarre. But anyway,
do you know you could turn noise cancelling off?
Yeah, no, I can have it on transparency mode and still not be able to hear. Like,
maybe it's like
it's the thought.
It's like when you turn your volume down in your car to park.
Yeah, because I can see better.
Yeah.
Right? But like, yeah, so I've been doing that and it's been weird. Like you hear like, you know, just other dogs barking. This is really funny, but I'll walk Simba in the mornings and he hasn't been to the toilet yet and he's walking around. He's just like farting as he walks. It's so funny.
Oh no.
Like these little like squeaky little farts. I just like crack myself up laughing.
And you would miss that moment if you had your
100%. You know, like the satisfaction of like stepping on bark. Like, you know, like just that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, anyway. So it's just been a really weird and kind of refreshing thing. And like then I'm also like not phased about like what music I'm going to listen to, or like the pressure of having to listen to a podcast, or
so that it's
or choosing productive. Exactly, so it's productive, or like what I'm going to listen to and putting it on shuffle and realistically just flicking through until I find the song that I actually want to listen to, right? So
and then you're like on your phone trying to set it up and connect, and it's just like I
was like, no, we're just going to remove that, and I just like put it in my pocket, and it's been so refreshing. And I haven't, like for a whole week there I didn't take anything in my ears, and it was good, and I didn't have to worry about if my AirPods were charged. Like how wild is that, you know what I mean? Like that was my biggest worry at that point, but like it's been quite refreshing. So I do find value in that.
I think we just get so bombarded, and particularly at this New Year's time when everyone is seemingly doing so good and so much better, and all I hear about, like a lot of like I see on TikTok, and if it's not like someone that's doing really good, it's someone talking about why someone's doing really good, or analyzing how they made it on TikTok, or how their social strategy, or why people like them. And it's just like it's not really healthy to focus so much on others. Oh, it's not really healthy. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good for your emotional and mental well-being to constantly be like comparing. And even if you think, oh, I'm not comparing, like we always are, you know? So I think it's important to like make your environment help you live the best life, not just leave it up to like your willpower and stuff like that. So, you know, having a book next to your bed so in the morning you wake up and read, or you know, not taking, like I don't take my phone downstairs. Like I'm trying to like leave it upstairs when I go downstairs to make my breakfast and like make my coffee, because then it's like I can't just get on TikTok, and I can't just, you know, or setting those like app limits, you know, just to like notify yourself. Although I just totally ignore that. Like it means nothing to me now. So I need to turn my app limit off and then turn it back on and like actually let it mean something to me again.
Yeah, that's what I got rid of my app limits a fair while ago.
But it's like, it's very like, it's good to focus on yourself. And I saw this, another TikTok, because obviously I still watch them. But it was this person talking about how same thing, very overstimulated, very, and like, so anxious and couldn't focus, and decided to eliminate all this stuff. And just like how much, like how your brain is like an inbox of thoughts, and when it's like you keep like just like minimizing your emails, right?
Yeah. Instead
of like dealing with them, and then the more you minimize, then you have like 5,000 emails, and your brain is like, I can't reply to all these, and I can't like do all this stuff. So it's, you know, if you have some quiet time, intentional quiet time, your brain can sort through your thoughts and emotions, deal with them and let them go.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you keep just pushing it under the rug, it doesn't sort of help.
Oh, 100%. And I am very aware at the moment of when I am over like stimulated and a little bit overwhelmed by it all, because I go from being able to reply to a text immediately to like 3 to 5 business days.
Oh, me too.
Like when I am really struggling, I can't reply to a text message. Like, and
I know, why is that? Even if it's just so simple, and I know that like a lot of those things, when you put them off, like it would be like, it's going to be easy and it'll be so much easier just to reply, but like you just don't have it in you, do you? Like,
no,
I just don't.
And part of it's not even the reply, it's the fact that I don't want the reply back.
Yeah,
because exactly. I'm gonna have to reply again, like, and that's why I put it off, because I'm like, I need to shut off and give me time to process what I need to before I keep engaging in this conversation, which, you know what, like at times like feels a little bit selfish and whatever, but at the end of the day I'm not able to give that person my best like attention or whatever that conversation needs if I'm not looking after myself as well.
I agree, and I think that definitely happens to me, and the first thing that goes is the interaction online, because it's when you just watch TikToks or just watch YouTube, there's nothing expected from you. You just get to consume. Yeah. And so I think by like one of the things I want to do is by limiting all that, I'm hoping that I can more easily just reply to texts and just like, you know, because that like talking to my friends even online is more important to me than just watching. But so I need to remove the overstimulation in other areas, so that, because it's not like, obviously sometimes it'll still happen where I'm like, I'm just going to leave this message, and that is totally valid. But then sometimes like I don't want it to have to be the first thing to go.
No.
Because sometimes I feel like it's annoying when you message someone sometimes and then they like you always understand because you understand what it's like, but it's like sometimes I want to be able to show up for the people that when matter. They need me.
That's right.
You know, so, and how they, you know, because they're the people that matter to me. So yeah, I think it's one thing I'm really trying to do at the moment is just limit, you know, like basically when you're intentional about what you consume, like what you eat, it can make a huge difference on how you feel physically. And then when you're intentional about what you consume mentally, it makes a huge difference on how you feel in your mind and emotions and that kind of stuff.
Wild.
I've also like been like dabbling into shadow work. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it. I don't know very much about it.
Me either. And as all of us probably do, I don't Google things anymore. I search them on TikTok to find
That is true, actually.
It's actually like a search engine. It's so crazy. Like if I need to, like if I want to research something about like a hair oil or makeup products or recipes, I go to TikTok. Anything like that, because it just works so well. And so I was like, I researched shadow work and I saw this TikTok all about it, and it was like how you have like 3 different parts. Oh, well, there's more than just 3, but these 3 parts of yourself, and it's like you as you are now, your highest self, the person you envision yourself being, you know, that version, and then your shadow self, and there's also like the inner child and apparently others, I don't know. But your shadow self is like, it's like everything that you are avoiding about yourself, or things you've been taught to have shame about yourself, parts of yourself that you try to kind of push under the rug or pretend aren't there. And the girl in the video was like, it's really important to address this part of yourself, because if you don't, it almost comes out like a tantrum, like an inner tantrum. And you know when like there's something that maybe you don't love about yourself, like let's say you, I don't know, shop a lot and you're like, well, that's not great for my financial goals, so you're like, I don't want to just binge shop because you know. And then if you don't address that part of yourself and validate that, like, you know what, I really enjoy shopping and there's no shame in that, and I, like, you know, I allow myself to, you know, make mindful shopping decisions. And if you don't like even acknowledge or accept that part of yourself, then you go on the binge shopping sprees, because it's like you've suppressed it and then you feel ashamed and you go out and you do that, and it can go in like any kind of ways, like all through your life. But it's like super important to accept and address that, otherwise it will force itself out. And I thought that was interesting, but it's like not easy to like go in and like talk about. Like I was sitting there and like, 'cause I know the things that I'm ashamed of and I know the things that I need to work on, and I didn't want to share them. So I was trying to think of an example that I felt no emotional connection to. So I was like, shopping. I don't, deal with this issue.
Fair.
Because it's like hard, and I'm not ready to like dive into the parts of me that I don't even want to acknowledge myself, and that's okay. Sometimes this stuff needs to happen in your own space for just yourself.
Yeah. Apologies.
But yeah, so that's another thing that I'm sort of dabbling into, more so just exploring. Sorry about that, the camera stopped. More about just like exploring who I want to be, and accepting myself so that like fully, and letting go of stuff that I've been holding on to for a long time. Firstly identifying that stuff, and then learning to let it go, so that I think like that will be really helpful in me like actually becoming the highest version of myself, or actually wanting to be like, you can't just, because I think if you try and do that out of avoidance of the other stuff, like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But it's hard.
It is hard. Very, very hard. I think it's worthwhile though.
Yeah.
As hard as it is.
Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile, and I think you have to be like gentle with yourself. I did like a little bit of a journaling session, and I was like, you know what, I'm good now. I'm just gonna like sit on this for a little while, and even just having the intention to address those things can make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And so I think like a good way, like if you want to start, I think a good way to make any improvement in your life is to firstly like figure out like what you truly want, and it needs to come from you. And the biggest tip for that is to, as we said, like remove at least some of the external distractions and stimulus, and give yourself time to figure it out. Like I think that would be like my number one tip if you wanted to sort of level up or make better changes for yourself, or live a life that you enjoy more. It's like first you have to figure out what that is, and that is removing that comparison and that over bombardment of stimulus.
And the space, yeah, because creating space then for your mind to really work for you.
Yes. The video has stopped working, sorry about that, but thank you for tuning in and chatting with us again today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us for another week. We will get everything sorted for next week.
Yes, it's always a learning process, isn't it?
It is, it sure is.
Yes, independent podcast, that's why we love the support, because it is always everything we're doing ourselves. We do everything, so
that's
it's like
right.
Not, it's not nothing, but we really enjoy it. So
yes, so thank you for listening in, thank you for your support, and
yeah, share this with someone you think might benefit.
Yeah, and until next week,
catch ya.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening in.
There's absolutely no pressure to do this, but if you're happy to share the podcast with your friends or on your socials and tag us at Pierced Off Pod, that would be amazing.
You can also leave us a stellar 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on if you're feeling extra motivated today. It really does help us out so much, but ultimately we are just beyond grateful that you're here.
You are also more than welcome to come and hang out with us on our other socials. All of our links are in the description.